You know, you think you've seen criminal activity right now from government. When societies follow this path, it only gets crazier until everything collapses. Think about history. Think about all the other governments and the corruption and the out-of-control behavior. Ceausescu would just turn the power off of the whole country to train everybody to accept being charged more, and he basically owned and controlled the power company. And then only the lights would be on in his palace, just as a way to control people. They're now doing that here with this same mafia, shutting down all the power plants that General Electric doesn't own, so that they then make double, triple, quadruple the profits, just like Enron did in California using the environmentalist. These are criminals. Gerald Celente is with us till 40 after. Then the one, the only, Lindsey Williams joins us with some incredible breaking news. Gerald, you're right. The collapse is on. I wanted to bring this point to your attention. You know, they passed the NDAA, use the military on the streets, indefinite detention of citizens, North Korea-style legislation. Now I got secretive documents that have been confirmed that Halliburton subsidiary KBR is preparing to activate the emergency camps for financial collapse around the U.S. So for the first time ever, they're now putting the contracts out to begin manning the FEMA camps. Gerald Celente. What's your view on that, Gerald?
We dropped off a little bit. I heard part of it about them activating the emergency camps. I totally believe that's the reason why they passed that legislation, which is going to be one of our top trends of 2012, economic martial law. I've been talking about this before it's happened. And what they're going to do is the European system's collapsing. It's collapsing. There's no way of saving it. The entire financial economic system is under collapse. In China, look, pick up yesterday's paper. Check out what's going on in Brazil. They were growing, Alex, at about 7.5%. They're down to 0. It's going to happen around the world. You look what's going on in China. Housing, 3-month slump, and it's declining like wildfire. Empty buildings all over. The bubble is bursted. There's no way of salvaging this. What I've said is that after the holidays, after they get the people to spend the money that they don't have on Christmas junk, they're going to pull the plug in the first quarter of 2012. When that happens, they are going to institute some form of martial law, economic martial law. And what that means is that you're going to see bank holidays, possibly dollar devaluations, some kind of draconian measures. As that takes place, remember now, all of these movements are heating up already. The Occupy movements, people are getting angry. They are going, and look what the goon squads do. You can see the perfect picture of the future by looking at that guy Pike, you know, the fat boy over there spraying little kids with pepper spray as he's shaking it up, with enough body armor on there, you know, to protect them from, you know, the Hulk.
And by the way, he lost his house to the banker scams, but he doesn't even care, obviously. But it's worse than that. In Oakland and in L.A., they're taking him to the local, in the case of L.A., the Dodgers Stadium. They're actually doing the martial law drills. And it's worse than that. The Russians are saying get ready for war. The Pakistanis have thrown the U.S. out. There's nuclear warships cruising around threatening. All bedlam is breaking loose. The Iranians are threatening to block the Strait of Hormuz, just like you said in your trends for 2011 a year ago. The next great war, they always start a war.
They always start a war after the financial collapse and after they milk the system and grab every dollar out of it and squeeze it out of the people. When there's nothing left to squeeze, they take you to war. They get you killed. And the Iranian one, that's the flashpoint. Look at what's going on. Add it up. Syria. It's collapsing. They have a huge amount of problems over there. The United States is supporting the anti-government movement, as is other European countries. And now Turkey's moving into that. Who is Syria's greatest ally? Iran. Look at the sanctions they're pushing on in Iran. This is a replay of World War II with Japan. Remember when they cut off Japan from getting oil supplies? The same thing is happening now in another scenario. Iran is the third. Anybody that has these many fingers could count that high. They're the third largest world oil supplier, behind Russia and Saudi Arabia. Now it's making it impossible for Iran to sell their oil.
Stay there. Let's get your forecast straight ahead. By the way, it's in Reuters. It's admitted Western-backed rebels have blown up the main gas and oil pipeline into Damascus, Syria. So there, I mean, the war is on. They admit the West and Israel is bombing Iran, blowing up bases right now. I mean, it is on. This war has already started, and it's run by criminal banks that want to take your bank account. All right, it's our final segment with Gerald Celente, who I really appreciate in his busy schedule, giving us an update on MF Global now that Corzine has gone up and taken the fifth, because he knows nothing about what happened in the collapse. He was just the head of the company, who had all the key federal regulators, were his former employees, and who were invested with him. So, Gerald Celente, you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars missing. Now they're talking about $3 billion missing. And they're just saying, Congress is like, gee, how do we not have this happen again? There's no discussion of how dare you steal this money? How dare you destabilize everything? So here's my question, and you're getting into all the global destabilization in Iran. I want you to finish with that, Gerald. Then we've got the one, the only, Lindsey Williams, coming up with information that dovetails with all this from his inside oil company sources that have been proven to be very accurate. My question for you is, what's the end game? What's the method of the madness? Why do they think they can get away with this? I mean, this points towards they are just going to start a giant war. And as you said, they don't care because they run all the regulators, and they know the war is going to be so bad that people will just rally around the crooks instinctively, as they always do. I mean, this really signifies how incredibly reckless these guys are. Gerald Celente.
Well, all you have to do, and I'm sure you've seen it, is that clip of Lindsey Graham, the cracker down there from South Carolina, and Carl Como-Levin from Michigan, I believe, and John McCain debating, was it Senate Bill 1867 that robs us of all of our rights? All you have to do is watch a video clip of these clowns blabbing their mouth off. They could only get away with that in their Senate chamber and a lot of guards around them. Because if they came around me or any of the people that I associate with, we would lay these guys out verbally to stop their baloney. But what they're doing, Alex, again, in this Iran, look what happened, as you mentioned. Iran lost a missile testing site, a uranium testing site, and they shot down an American drone over Iranian territory. Could you imagine if an Iranian drone was over American territory? Oh, wow. Obama would be sending those missiles over there. The place would be blowing up. Oh, but it's okay for us to do it because, I'll tell you why, to answer your question. You have psychopaths in power. It's as simple as that. These people are out of their minds. You know how you say you can tell the attitude of a person by who they are. If you go down to the ghetto and you see some loser out there that's shot up and out of his mind, walking around like this with the pants down to there and the hat back there, you know where the cat's coming from. If you watch Lindsey the cracker Graham over there in South Carolina talking as he's weaving back and forth like this with his hands in his pocket, or Como-Levin telling us to jive, or McCain that's stiff as a board and you wonder if he has a brain left in his head, you can see who's taking us down the crapper. You get it? You have crazy people running the country. They're psychopaths.
Well, you're right, and so that's where they're taking us. War, destruction, death, and they love the big crises. They've got the FEMA camps ready. They're publicly saying, I mean, Graham said, you bet we'll arrest citizens in America. You bet we'll kill whoever we want worldwide. I mean, he is crazy. I mean, some little weird, oily guy who's reportedly blackmailed because of his homosexuality just weaving around, sweating, going, "We bet we'll kill Americans." And then, I mean, you're right. And then Levin creeping around like Igor or something. And then McCain looks completely insane.
I know, and these people are telling us what to do. It's beyond the belief. They're telling us what to do. They're telling us that that the Graham cracker over there, he said America's a battlefield. He's saying this is a battlefield. Look, I know commuting to work back and forth every day isn't a lot of fun, but this is no battlefield. There's been no attacks. He's talking about Al-Qaeda. What Al-Qaeda? You even hear Petraeus, who's now the head of the CIA, saying that in Afghanistan, there's lucky to be 100 Al-Qaeda left. What are they talking about?
They're there for the opium, but in closing, Gerald, clearly they're capable of staging events. Clearly, now the Justice Department documents, CBS got them, confirming that they did plan to ship the guns to Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. In the words of the CBS, ATF created the problem so they could be the solution to it, and the memo said that they could use this to ban semi-automatics. I mean, right there, these guns have killed conservatively hundreds of people, including 3 police officers here in the U.S. and Border Patrol. I mean, this is an example of the mindset of these people, Gerald.
Yes, it is. And everyone, if you wake up one day and you never hear again from Alex Jones or Gerald Celente, it's because now it's law. The Senate has passed it, codified. The military could come in, crash into your studio and our offices, grab us, take us away, send us to do whatever they want with us. We have no trial. We have no jury. We have no rights. And everyone out there better find the moral courage within them to stand up, speak out, and take action, because you're only going to become a slave. The slavery laws are in place. You will become a slave for Walmart, Target, Federated Stores, ConAgra, go down the list. They're in control, and they're going to take away everything. The economic martial law will be imposed. There's going to be a bank holiday, a very high probability of it in the new year. The system is collapsing, and now they're putting the goon squads in place to lock you up and throw you away.
Well, wait, Gerald, in closing, even Greece now admits there's bank runs going on over there. More and more people are getting their money out here. I mean, this is really, really creepy what's going on.
Yes, it is. And that's one of the reasons why I'm warning everyone. Your money is not safe with anybody but yourself. That's why they came up with all of these stories over the years, how people took their money out of the bank and put it in their mattress. And then when you look at all these derivatives that you talk about that now take precedent, by the way, that these banks have tens of trillions of, rather than depositors' insurance. The derivatives plays.
No, wait a minute. And in Portugal, it's mainstream news, they took private pension funds. It's only a one-time hit, Gerald, and gave them to the mega banks to pay off derivatives 2 days ago. The government took control to protect them and took 30% off the top to give the bankers. Private ones, not even some cop's pension, which I hear them on the media selling. Well, they got too big of pensions. That's not their money either. The cops paid into it. The firemen paid into it. I mean, they're really maneuvering everyone to steal everything. And in closing, because we're going to our next guest, and I know you've got to go, and we appreciate your time, friendsresearch.com. We'll get another update from you next week if you can be gracious enough to do it, Gerald.